Hi, my name is Caroline Garmon. I am going to be doing this video to present my signature project, Stage 2, research on the perceptions of parents of students with disabilities and their effect on student achievement. This research is done through University of Alabama for the course of ED 504 Semester in Special Education Issues, and this is Fall 1 of 2024. My identified problem is from the accounts of a special education teacher at previous school systems. There have been many witnesses of parents showing concern about their child possibly feeling isolated and ostracized by peers when their child is removed from whole group participation or placed in a classroom that excludes them from non-disabled peers for part or most of the day. The child may be removed for either small group instruction for special education services or state testing accommodations. Other students may be in a non-inclusive setting referred to as a self-contained classroom, where they are placed with other students demonstrating similar high academic and/or behavioral needs. Some parents have even expressed great dismay at their child receiving the label of a student who receives special ed services. These same parents further expressed that they do not want their child to feel alienated from a perceived normal childhood experience. This study is seeking to find the correlation between parents having concerns of their child with a disability viewed negatively by society affects the parent's access to resources for their child and thereby limits the child's academic achievement. If parents of students with disabilities are exposed to a parent conference filled with resources of how to better advocate for their children, fight society's stigma, and feel less isolated in their worries of their child's stigma that they face, then they will show greater involvement in their child's education, leading to higher student achievement as demonstrated within work sample data from students with disabilities. In my original data, on average, prior to intervention, Student 1 was succeeding in their reading notebook work sample data at 60% accuracy, and Student 2 was succeeding in their reading notebook work sample data at 90% accuracy. Both students were provided with the same reading curriculum throughout the whole research project. Both students' parents were provided the same intervention methods via the Google Form surveys with the embedded intervention video of parent resource information. Background investigation includes that the parent intervention, being the Google Forms link, was provided all 10 students' parents on the researcher Caroline Garmon's caseload. However, since only 2 parents of students on the caseload participated, only data from those 2 students will be provided. The students and their respective parents have been renamed Student 1 and Parent 1 from the first parent participant and their child, and Student 2 and Parent 2 from the second parent participation and their child. The action plan. The sampling, description, and method involved willing participants from the parents of students on Caroline Garmon's caseload who fit the criteria for this study. That was all students who were part of I'm Caroline Garmon, my research, I'm the researcher, I'm Caroline Garmon. So all of the students on my caseload, all of their parents were sent this link, but only 2 of them participated out of all 10 of them. Instrumentation. All parents on the research's special education caseload were provided with a Google Forms survey with an embedded video detailing information on a parent resource, children's rehabilitation services, and all the ways that resource can aid these parents in obtaining access for their children to be more successful and providing parent and family support. In the forms link, the parents filled out a pre-intervention questionnaire before viewing the parent resource intervention video. After viewing the video, the parents then completed a post-intervention questionnaire. Student achievement work sample data from the reading curriculum provided during IEP reading service times was included in the research to demonstrate if the parents' exposure to the intervention provided any impact on student achievement. Collaborative efforts. In order to conduct the research, the researcher needed parent participation as well as student participation. 2 out of 10 parents participated in the Google Form link intervention. These parents' children were present at school to be able to participate in the reading assessment for the majority of the week studied. Procedures. The parents were asked to interact with the Google Forms link. The link provided a pre-intervention questionnaire, an embedded video that was the parent resource intervention video, and a post-intervention questionnaire. Every week, all students on Caroline Garmon's caseload are exposed to a reading curriculum that has a built-in reading assessment at the end of each week. Internal validity. The results of the student achievement data in the work samples are not a good reflection of student achievement within the study group. Given that this is a population of students with disabilities, it would be more appropriate to conduct a more long-term study over the course of an entire school year to be able to notice true improvement in the student work sample data. However, the results of the parent questionnaires pre- and post-intervention are accurate representations of the group because it demonstrates the parents' willingness to show involvement in their child's achievement, as well as how valued they feel to the information provided. The parent resource intervention video was to help them help their children be more successful in school. External validity. The data is applicable to the real world in that it shows parents' willingness to be involved in their child's education, their openness to be exposed to parent resources that can help them help their children more, and how valuable those parents felt like the resources provided are to them and the successes of their children. Even if these resources do not help the parents, help them in the areas of reading comprehension, that's what the student work sample data was assessing each week, the resources detailed to the parents about children's rehabilitation services can help them find outside services for their children in other more functional areas, such as occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech and language therapy, and assistive technology. For ethical considerations in regards to confidentiality, while the parents did provide their name and their child's name in the Google form link, the information was omitted for the purposes of providing the data within this study. The first parent to participate was renamed Parent 1 within the data results of this project, and the second parent was renamed Parent 2. Their children were also respectively named Student 1 and Student 2 on all representations of their student achievement work sample data. Special populations. The populations included in this research include students who receive special education services from Caroline Garmon, the researcher. All student participants have an identified disability under IDEA and an IEP service by Caroline Garmon, the researcher. The Institutional Review Board, IRB. The study has been approved by the University of West Alabama's Internal Review Board for the Protection of Human Subjects. This board can be contacted through the office of Mrs. Patricia Pratt. In addition, my research advisor, Dr. Kyla Pratt, can be contacted at her telephone number. My other research advisor, who helped me through the Signature Project Stage 2, this portion, Dr. Stephen Myhan, can be reached at his phone number provided. No other ethical considerations were taken into account. The student participation via their work sample data is the same reading curriculum that will be provided to them after research has been concluded. All identifiable information related to the students and their parents has been made confidential by the researcher. Now to present the results from the parent questionnaire, the pre-intervention. When asked, are you interested in a more inclusive education for all children? Both parents answered yes. When asked on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with the amount of stigma that your child may face at school or in your community receiving special ed services? 1 being the least concerned, 10 being the most. One of the parents selected 8, and the other parent selected 10. So 10 being the most concerned about the level of stigma their child faces. How confident do you feel in the level of resources that are provided to you already? One parent responded 6, and the other responded 8, with 1 being least confident and 10 being most confident. Do you feel as though there are systematic barriers that prevent your child from receiving a more fulfilling educational experience? Both parents answered yes. Do you feel like having greater access to resources can help provide your child with a more meaningful educational experience? Both parents answered yes. Are you willing to utilize new resources that may be provided to you during this conference to help improve your child's educational experience? Both parents answered yes. Do you want to be more involved in your child's education? Both parents answered yes. Do you feel as though your involvement is an important part of your child's education? Both parents answered yes. When asked, do you feel as though your participation in your child's education is valued by your child's school? One parent answered no, and that was parent 1. And parent 2 answered yes. They do feel that their participation is valued by the school. Then after being provided with the video intervention with the parent resources about children's rehabilitation services, they were provided with the post-intervention parent questionnaire and the Google Forms link When asked on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with the amount of stigma your child may face at school or in your community for receiving special ed services, one parent answered 3, 10, the other parent answered 10 being the most. When asked how likely do you think you are to utilize some of the resources mentioned in this conference in your everyday life at home with your children, 1 being least likely, 10 being the most likely. One parent said 1 being least likely, the other said 5. When asked, did this conference influence you to want to be more involved in your child's education, both parents answered yes. When asked, do you feel like having greater access to the provided resources will help provide your child with a more meaningful educational experience, both parents answered yes. When asked, do you feel like this conference was worthwhile, both parents answered yes. When asked, do you feel like this conference helped open your perspective towards the amount of stigma your child may face at school or in your community, both parents said yes. When asked, do you feel like this conference helped open your perspective to the impact that you have on your child's education, both parents said yes. When asked, did attending this conference with other parents in your community who also have children with disabilities help you feel more or less stigmatized by your community, both parents answered neutral for that one. And when asked, do you feel more united or a part of your community after participating in this conference, one parent said no, that was parent 1, and the other parent 2, answered yes. Now looking at the student achievement work sample data before, during, and after parent participation. So this included weeks 3, 4, and 5 happening before the intervention. Weeks 6 and 7 was the intervention period when the Google Forms link was open for. And then weeks 8 and 9 was after the intervention link was closed and both parents had taken their time to respond to the link. So for weeks 3, 4, and 5, student 1. So for week 3, student 1 got 60% on her reading assessment. Student 2 got 100% on his. Week 4, both students were absent. On week 5, student 1 got 60% again, and student 2 got 80% that time. In the during intervention period, while the Google Forms link was open, for week 6, student 1 got a 60% on that assessment, and student 2 got a 40%. Week 7, both students were absent for that reading assessment day on that Friday. They were absent on 9/20. On week 8, student 2 was absent that day, but student 1 got an 80% accuracy on her reading assessment. And then for week 9, student 1 got a 40% accuracy on her built-in reading assessment, and student 2 got a 60% accuracy on his reading assessment. And so I went and averaged this. So before intervention, on average, student 1 got 60% correct, and student 2 got 90% correct before intervention. During the intervention period, student 1 still maintained the 60% accuracy. Student 2 dropped down to 40%. And after the intervention period was concluded with the parents, student 1 was still at 60% accuracy for her reading assessments, and student 2 came up a little bit to 60% accuracy. So overall for the results, student 1's data was overall unaffected by the parent intervention, 60%, showing neither growth nor decay. Student 2's data dropped during parent intervention period, then came back up post-intervention, but did not recover to previous achievement prior to intervention because it was 90, 40, 60. Noteworthy, due to absences, data was unavailable for both students on weeks 4 and 7, as well as week 8 for only student 2. And for my reflection, to see more student growth, changes that would need to occur would be engaging further with the parents to ask them what kind of resources they would like to see in order to aid them better in helping their child be more successful. And data would also need to be taken over the course of an entire school year to show an accurate representation of growth and student achievement for the population of students with disabilities. That concludes my signature project stage 2 for my research perceptions of parents of students with disabilities and their effect on student achievement. Just to show really quickly my student data work samples, I wanted to scroll past this very quickly just to show that I have this to show. This is student one's work from weeks 3, weeks 4, where she was absent, weeks 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then student two's work sample data, that's the 2 in the corner there, for weeks 3, 4, where he was absent, 5, 6, 7, he was also absent, 8, and 9. Thank you so much, and that concludes my research.